Okay, so I went to WNC for a project of mine. I thought up of some really interesting idea, and first thing I did was I called up Danny about tickerpulse.info. So, what is this project that I wanted to do with him? What I do, the problem I'm trying to solve is that every night I'm watching a lot of YouTube videos about stocks, mainly technology stocks. And there's like maybe 15, 20 bloggers out there on YouTube who are pretty good. And I watch these guys over regular analysts, versus reading mainstream analyst reports because a lot of them are engineers. They have studied engineering and they deep dive into the companies like NVIDIA and AMD and Astera Labs and many others, Tesla, and they talk about it at depth. But this is a problem for me. I recently had a baby. Well, actually, my wife had the baby, I'm working full time, so I don't have the time to watch like 10, 15 videos a day. And this is where we thought up the idea that why don't we use an AI technology to watch the videos for us, capture all the stocks that they're talking about, and give a general sentiment of how the blogger feels about it, and get a 25, 30 word excerpt, 135 character excerpt from each blogger, and then summarize this information, and then I can make decisions. So this is a way to automate the dissemination process, the analyzing and dissemination of videos. So that there is the problem statement, and the approach that we used was to use the ChatGPT API, and then use the some YouTube APIs to capture the videos, process the videos, and then get that qualitative or chatter into a database, into a PostgreSQL database. And so, what was the approach we took with the team, as far as working together? So we take an agile approach. So Danny has assigned me one or two developers. I would say one and a half. We have one full-time guy, and then there's one senior guy who steps in when we really need some help. And we set up sprints. So we have a Trello board, which is free. One thing Danny's company is good at is keeping the costs very efficient. I won't say cheap, because then you have tech debt later. But I would say that he's very good at cost efficiency, to bring the right people with the right skills and get the work done. So we work in sprints. Every week we plan and set a goal for what we want to achieve. And this project had 4 phases. It had the engine phase to build this processing of the videos and putting that stock information, stock sentiment data into a database. And then the second step, now that we're just finishing up now, is building the reporting. So we've built several different reports, and we're going to be building an AI. This is something Danny's company had suggested, like an AI chatbot, an AI chatbot that people can discuss and talk to the data, as one would say, have a conversation with the data, like compare 2 bloggers who got it right, compare 2 different stocks, which would be a better investment according to these bloggers. And remember, none of this is financial advice. But so Danny has suggested functionalities that I hadn't thought of. I was just looking at basically getting reports. I didn't really think about having a chatbot. I thought that might be too complicated, but apparently Danny has found an efficient way to do it so that it would be very cost efficient. And then after this, so we have the first phase was the engine, the second phase is the reports, the third phase would be the social media, to now start marketing the site and get users and get feedback. And the process is iterative, so nothing is set. So we get the feedback, we add this feedback to the backlog as tasks, sometimes bug reports, sometimes enhancements. And then I'm acting as the product owner and the project manager for these developers, to prioritize this backlog, working in a truly agile way. And like I said, we have 1 week sprints, but we can also reprioritize in the middle of the sprint, and then I'll understand that something else will have to wait. So right now the priority is building good reporting, and then at the expense of the UI. But now as these reports get done, then UI takes a higher priority. The last phase will be the monetization, actually charging subscriptions, because none of this is for free. We have to run this on Amazon, and we have to and this is, I believe, value-added information. I have found just in the 3 months several good valuable picks from this stock. One was a company called Modine Manufacturing that builds cooling centers for data centers, and a few bloggers have talked about it, not many. And another one I think was called D-Local or something. It's a very small stock. It was talked about by one blogger from Belgium. So it has this radar effect, and this would not have been possible if it weren't for the Danny and his team at WNC.